I myself made this mistake. See additional discount on top of tax-free. Hi guys, if you're going to Japan, you have to watch this video. Having been to Japan multiple times in the last couple of years, I have written down a couple of tips and interesting facts about Japan that you should know before heading there. So tip number one, if you're looking for restaurants to eat at, Tablog is a more commonly used app as opposed to Google. And if you look at the reviews in Tablog, anything above 3.5 is considered a good restaurant, and anything above 4 stars out of 5 is considered very, very good. So Google reviews are very often not that reliable. However, I know sometimes it's quite troublesome to download a whole new app. If you want to use Google to look for restaurants, very important tip is, for example, if you want to eat sushi, do not type sushi in the English language because the options that come up are very limited. So what you need to do is to go to Google Translate sushi into Japanese, and then put the Japanese term for sushi into Google Maps. It will give you a lot more options and also restaurants that are not that touristy. Tip number two is when you go shopping in the local boutiques. So for me, I like to shop in the Shibuya and Shinjuku area, and there are a lot of little shops in the departmental stores. Something that I talk about extensively in my previous videos is that I'm very particular about looking for items that are made in Japan. And something to know is that for a piece of clothing that is the same model, same make, they can be made in 2 or 3 different places. So there are a couple of shops that I go to, and in my previous what to buy in Japan video, I talked about buying tweed jackets. And when I was looking for a tweed jacket, I realized that there are some jackets that are made in Japan, and the exact same jacket can also be made in China or Vietnam or Indonesia. And when I asked the salesperson, she said that they often have different factories for production, and sometimes it could be sizes extra small, small and medium are made in Japan, whereas the larger sizes are made in China, Vietnam or Indonesia. Or it could be that certain batches are produced in Japan and certain batches are produced elsewhere. When I'm purchasing a piece of clothing from a Japanese boutique and I know that their items are made in Japan, I always look at the tags to make sure that the piece I'm getting is produced in Japan. After all, you're paying for made in Japan prices. Some of these suit jackets can be $200 to $300, and this is something that I religiously look out for. Item number 3 to note is that when you're going shopping, before you enter the changing rooms, you are often expected to remove your shoes. You even see this in stores like Uniqlo, and in the changing room, they often give you a sheet that you can place over your face for you to try on your clothing so that your makeup does not get onto the clothing items. So if you're planning to go shopping the entire day, wear a comfortable outfit and shoes that you can easily get in and out of. Tip number 4 is that if you're shopping in large departmental stores like Takashimaya, they often have an app which gives you additional discount on top of tax-free. So if you're looking for luxury items, a lot of these also qualify, and sometimes the discount can be up to additional 5% off. So be sure to always check with the staff in stores. The next 2 things I'm going to talk about are more cultural in nature, and some of you might find it surprising. Tipping is often seen as rude. I know in Western cultures, especially in the US, tipping is considered very normal. However, in Japan, tipping is considered rude because excellent service is considered a natural part of the job, and the Japanese people really do their work with pride. And it is not something to be rewarded with extra money. Item number 6 is money related as well, and I myself made this mistake. But Japan still uses a lot of cash, and they have a money tray custom where if you are in a store and you are handing cash over to the person, they would often put a little plastic tray on top of the counter. You're expected to put your notes or coins on the tray itself instead of passing it to the staff directly. And if there's any change that's involved, the staff would also put any change on the tray for you to then take the money. There are several cultural reasons to why this is practiced. Number 1, it's considered polite and respectful. There's a deep cultural emphasis in showing respect and avoiding physical contact. So by placing the money on the tray, it avoids physical interaction, which may seem a little bit awkward. Reason number 2, germs can also spread quite easily when there's physical contact. So by putting money on the tray, you are also avoiding germs spreading from one person's hands to the other. Another reason is that it also prevents error. When you put the money on the tray, everything is laid out more clearly, and also allows the staff to pick it up easily and count the money more effectively without making any mistakes. The next fact is something that is probably well known, but For me, I was really surprised when I was visiting Japan a couple of years ago, and I was really frustrated that it's so hard to find trash cans in the country. I asked a friend who was living in Japan at the time, and a tip that he gave me was to go into the convenience stores like Family Mart, because there are usually bins in there. What I understand is that after the 1995 Tokyo subway attack, the government has consciously reduced the number of trash cans in the public areas as a security measure. And people are expected to take their trash home with them or to dispose of them in designated bins. I guess this is also one of the reasons why the public spaces in Japan are so clean. Okay, the next thing I want to share with you is what I personally feel. Something that I struggle with is that I find it very hard to find vegetables. I know that in restaurants there are little bowls of salads or pickled vegetables, but if you think about all the Japanese food like sushi, tonkatsu, soba, udon, I find it really hard to find green leafy vegetables. And every time when I need my vegetables, I'll go to a shabu shabu restaurant where you can order leafy vegetables to put in the soup. Okay, the next two items are on transport. So the next thing to know is that even though you do not understand the Japanese language, and even though from pictures the train stations can look very confusing, I found that it was actually quite easy to navigate. So I was in Japan alone sometime last year, and I was traveling within Tokyo by myself, and initially I thought that it would be really confusing, but the thing is the timings of the trains are so precise, it's quite difficult to get on board the wrong train. So when I'm googling on Google Maps how to get from point 1 to point 2, they often tell you the platform number and the timing of the train on Google Maps, and I just have to go to the platform and check the timings of the train, and usually it matches exactly. The trains are also so on time that it was so easy to just hop onto the right train. So yes, getting around is not that difficult because the train timings are just so precise and you can check it on Google Maps. Item number 10 is traveling around Japan on train. It's easiest if you have a Suica card, but what I also realized is that you don't have to physically purchase a Suica card. What you can do is, if you have an iPhone, you can go to wallets, add cards, add a transport card, select Suica, and then top it up from there. This makes it so convenient because you don't have to actually queue at the physical train station, but you can use the virtual card on your phone to tap in and tap out. I have one last bonus thing to share, which is I realized that Christmas isn't a big thing in Japan. For the last couple of years, we have been going to Japan during the Christmas period because everywhere else around the world, things tend to be closed early or completely shut. But what we realized is that the stores are still open all the way from Christmas to New Year's Eve, and everything is functioning as per normal. Something to note though, that most stores are typically closed the first week of January, so that is really a quiet period in Japan, and a lot of the good restaurants are closed. I hope that you found these tips and facts useful about Japan. This is something that I've been collating over the last couple of years. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care and goodbye.